Atlanta is a perfect market. A lot of people still moving to Atlanta.
When you're looking at these houses, you're saying, how many bedrooms could I actually get to be in this space,
yes.
right?
If you're doing it the right way, and if you screen it well, you're not gonna have a lot of issues. 8 months that I'm doing co-living, I think we only had one problematic guest, and if you wanted to scale, it's not that hard. It's interesting because when the home is new, you have to do everything, but once new people come in, the people that have been there kind of onboard them. We have 24 hours to accept. But if you start a conversation, they don't communicate back, we deny them for lack of communication.
I'm here sharing inspiring stories about fearless entrepreneurial women to help encourage you to live your life unapologetically. I'm your host, Heather Blankenship. Welcome to the Unapologetically Me podcast.
On today's episode, I'm going to be talking with Christiane Silveira all about co-living. Now, this was kind of a selfish endeavor getting her to speak to us because I've been genuinely curious. I keep seeing these ads for pad split, and I'm really curious how people are evaluating these deals, determining what they would rent the space for, how some people are using these single family homes that they haven't been able to sell or that maybe were previously Airbnbs and using them for affordable housing to truly impact an area that they're in. So let's dive into some of the details of this asset class that's kind of underrated right now. Thanks, Christiane, for being here with us today. I'm selfishly excited to talk to you about the co-living topic because as I kind of hear people, most of us in the real estate industry, we've heard about pad split, but not a lot of people are really breaking down the numbers and talking to us about how it works. And you're here, we're in the Panhandle of Florida for one of my women's retreats, and you did an amazing presentation yesterday, really kind of outlining how something like this could be a realistic option for somebody and make 3 or 4 times the income a property might make rented in a different format. One of the most interesting things I think you showed was the screen that showed a single family home rented as a 3 or 4 bedroom. And then you go in, and it was renting for maybe it was $1,600 a month, if I remember right. Yeah. And then the same house, if you break it up the way you would for a co-living space, was renting for $4,700 a month. And literally the same house with very little changes made, couple walls put up, and we're taking in a ton more cash. So I would love to hear you talk through how you find this type of property. How do you know that this is a good market for it? And how are we pricing that now that we've chopped up the bedrooms?
Yes, so first of all, I like to tell everybody I'm a buy and hold investor, right?
Yeah.
So, I do some fix and flip a year just for the active income. But my thing is to build that wealth later. And with co-living, the way the interest rates are and everything, I have long terms. Rental, I have not been able to cash flow.
Yeah.
If you buy, in the last 2-3 years.
I think a lot of people have been sitting in that place. Or they even have houses now that won't rent for what they would, and they're kind of stuck with them.
Yes.
Or they were getting short-term rentals, and the market's not what they thought it would be. So they're stuck with these houses they can't sell right now.
Yes, and then, I have investors in Atlanta that was already doing pad split. That's how I got to know, and I was like, okay, some people are doing this, and they kept telling me about it, and I'm like, I'm not interested, let me see. And I never really paid attention until I have one of my flips not selling. That's when I decided to do co-living. But for me, in my mind was, pad split founder is in Atlanta. He's been there, pad split has been there for like 7 years. I talk to people.
So it's not as new as it seems in that market.
And I talk to investors that have been in Atlanta for 5 years doing the same thing that I'm doing now, but they didn't know it was co-living. Mm-hmm. They didn't have a name. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And then pad split came, of course, and now it's because the economy, lack of affordability, for us investors is a great way to get in. There's so many advantages, and big cities, big markets, closer to public transportation. All of our rentals, B- and C neighborhoods. We don't need to build a beautiful Airbnb and spend hundreds of money to make the same amount of cash flow. So that's what the benefit. And then if we have 7 bedrooms, 9, I just went live on 11 bedroom. If one person moves out, doesn't do anything, right? Like it's not gonna compromise me.
And odds are they aren't moving all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It's not gonna happen. Now, if you have a long term, like I have one of my houses in Atlanta sitting, and I know when I get there, it's gonna take at least another month, especially this time of the year and everything. So 1 month, I'm already in a negative. With this way of co-living, you're able to build your long-term wealth, right? Like buying and hold. The tenants are still paying for your mortgage. And then the way that I do with my fixed split method, all I buy is distressed properties. I don't buy turnkey. Sometimes I buy creative.
Listen, y'all, I know today's episode is inspiring, but inspiration alone will never carry us to our ultimate goals. That's why I started the Society of Entrepreneurial Women. It's a mastermind for high-performing female investors and entrepreneurs who are living their lives unapologetically. In a world where most people don't get us, or they try to keep us confined in a small box, the Society exists to turn off the brakes and set you free. We have weekly calls covering investing, wealth building, health, relationships, family, and a whole lot more. We have small tribes to hold each other accountable to our goals. We have in-person, ladies-only retreats to disconnect and drive each other towards our dreams. And most importantly, this is a community where you can be unapologetically you. Celebrate your wins, scream your successes from the top of the rooftop, become best friends with women who get you. We're 3 years in, and I can honestly say my best friends today are all from the Society. Click the link in the show notes to learn more.
So essentially using the BRRRR method, you're just not selling
exactly.
it.
And then I just call a fixed split because I'm splitting 2 rooms. I'm building more, and there's a way that I do it, that I do the cash out refi in phase 1. I don't show the lenders that I'm building more rooms, right? Because what co-living is, you're gonna get a house, the same house you have long term, but you're gonna get all the living space, and those are going to become bedrooms.
So I'm going to take what they considered an office, what they thought was a dining room. Maybe this is the master bedroom and it were too big.
Yes.
If we were going to only put, somebody for co-living in there, where maybe we make the living room a little smaller if it was a really large living space. And now we've doubled our bedroom count.
With pad split, they require to have 2 ways of egress. So if you have a window and a door, that works.
Okay.
So for us, my team, we walk properties all the time. We have acquisition team now. I come from all the masterminds. I know a lot of wholesalers. I know how to do creative. I know how to talk to sellers. So, and then we start, okay, this is getting somewhere. Investors start coming to me for help. How do you do this? How are you able to recycle the capital, right? And pull the capital. When do you do the cash out refi? When do you convert? How do you do all of your phases? And I'm like, okay, so I think we got something good. And Atlanta is a perfect market. A lot of people still moving to Atlanta. There's a lot of jobs. Big companies are there, and it's a great market everywhere.
So I feel like you've taken what people used to teach was, let's go figure out how to house hack. Let's find a house that maybe somebody could live in the basement. Maybe there could be a apartment in the garage. Maybe you could lock out an area of your house and you're going to rent out one space. This is taking that one step further. And when you're looking at these houses, you're saying, how many bedrooms could I actually get to be in this space, right? And so I was talking to one of the girls after your presentation, and she was saying, Heather, she's in her 40s, she's single, and she is a remote worker. So she travels, what do they call it? Digital nomad.
Yes.
So she travels all over the world, but she intentionally stays in places with a community. So they want the community spaces. And I had to stop and say, no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about affordable housing. So these people are working 2 jobs. They're not looking for a community. This is literally the affordable housing option for them on where they can live. So they are not cooking a dinner together.
No.
They are not sitting in the living room watching a football game together like you might be if you're this digital nomad looking for community. It's truly to fix the affordable housing issue that we have right now.
Yes.
And so as you're pricing these out, how do you determine what somebody would pay for rent in one of these bedrooms?
because we have pad splits in our market, so I just go in there and the pad split, the platform, there's other resources for hosts. Even if you're not a host, you go in there, you can put an area that you're looking for to put a co-living, and they give you the price, the occupancy, and everything. Now, because I've been doing so much, I know the areas and I know exactly how much I'm gonna ask. But if you use their platform, it's super easy. Now, if you don't have pad split or if you don't want to use pad split, you can see you comparing with studios in one-bedroom apartments.
Okay.
So see how much they're charging, whatever they're charging, you give a 20% discount, that's your price.
So our bedrooms are renting at the market rate for a studio minus 20%.
Yes.
And are you furnishing these? These are furnished rental?
Furnished, we pay for all the utilities. Now, everybody inside pad split does it differently. Like if you're gonna go in there in a platform and put Atlanta, you're gonna see rooms that look like dorms, like there's a bed, and everybody does it different. You're gonna look like my properties, like I put TV, there's a desk, it's nice. So everybody does it in a certain way. So if you have private bathrooms, you can charge a little bit more. If we have a private entrance, you can charge a little bit more. So pad split on the platform, even if you're not from Atlanta, go there and see how they price it. Do you see what I mean? Like if there's a desk, it's a little bit more. If you have this, like everything is a little bit different. But for mine, we do all my homes, and that's the way that I tell everybody, have a cleaner come every 2 weeks, because they're gonna be your eyes and ears, train them to look for things, smell, make sure everything's good, make sure there's no damage that sometimes people don't see. And then they're gonna be there and they're gonna be doing the cleaning.
And do they clean the individual bedrooms or only?
They do not.
They do not. So the common areas.
They do go inside the private bathrooms if they are right there. Because I don't want the cleaners inside the rooms.
Right.
If the members are not inside, if the tenant. But if usually they're never there.
Yeah.
Like if you walk into one of the co-livings, like it's always quiet. These people, especially the pad split, and I know your friend, I know what like I travel overseas, I see it's nice. I want to get you there to do those kind of one day, but for now, my focus is to get, to take care of the affordability, creating some impact. And my properties, when it goes on pad split, they fill really fast because there is a demand. And then if you're doing it the right way, and if you screen it well, you're not going to have a lot of issues, right?
So talk me through your screening criteria.
Okay, so we have a whole thing, but as soon as the booking comes in,
so let's back up. Pad split works similar to Airbnb. They're searching for something in their area, they find your listing, and they request to book.
Yes.
And then you're going to get some information about them?
Yes.
And then are you paid through Pad Split's platform? And they take a percentage, like Airbnb?
Yeah. So they sign the lease. All the members under my property sign the lease with Pad Split.
Okay.
Some investors or hosts, they don't do the screening. I do my own screening because I know there's some stuff that you should not outsource.
So instead of like a direct booking on Airbnb, you're going to do that request to book, and then what type of information are you requesting?
And then they've already know the house rules that we put it there with Pad Split, but I make them initial, like I have a form where they initial each one of them that they understand. And then once they do that, I ask them to send a picture, like they send a selfie with their ID. Because we've seen situations, we the person that sent the ID is not the real person that moved into the house. So there's a lot of stuff that, because we've been doing it and we do, we have a property management now, so we do a lot of homes, so we see that what people are doing. And so once we have that, we ask for pay stubs. So we want to make sure they're really working, because when they go with Pad Split, Pad Split approve them for like $300 a week.
So do you know the ratio, how much more they need to make? For example, on affordable housing, they need 3 times the income. Their income needs to be 3 times the rent. So I'm curious if Pad Split has
it's a lot less. Like it's lower.
And they're paying by the week.
Yes.
And so people could, in theory, move out in a week They could come and stay only 1 week?
No, they have at least 6 weeks.
Okay.
But most of them, and that's when the screening comes in, most of them do the 12-week commitment.
Okay.
I want members or tenants they're going to stay for a long time.
Of course.
Because once you get your nice, you stabilize that property, there's not a lot of issues. Because all they are looking for is a quiet and clean place, right? Their community is in third place. That's what Pet Split is. So
are you doing a background check and a credit check?
Yes, we do background check, and we don't do credit check.
Okay.
Pet Split does. They say, hey, they're approved to pay $300 a week or $400. So if it's gonna be, if my room rent is $250, okay, this is good, it's approved. And then before we approve them, we get them on the phone. And then we go over, set up expectations. That's where we build the culture. We say, hey, this is our rooms. We have 7 other people there. Do you understand you're going to be sharing the same common areas? You guys are going to be sharing some of the cleaning. Make sure the quiet hours. Make sure you don't bring a visitor. Make sure you don't smoke inside the house.
So there's no visitors allowed?
No visitors allowed.
It's huge.
Yes.
And so talk to me about people getting along, right? Because that could be a huge thing.
Yeah.
Have you run into any issues with people getting along yet?
We have not, but we have had investors talking about it. When we bring people in, we want to make sure they're about the same age. Like I would not bring to a home somebody at their early 20s and somebody in their 40s or 50s. We try to keep the same age level together. So, but if we get somebody that are not getting along with the other person, like a Pet Split has a communication app. We send a message, make sure we give them a warning. We like to document everything, because if there's any issues, we need to ask them to vacate the room. It's going to be, everything is going to be there and documented.
So even though they're paying by the week on something like Pet Split, how do landlord-tenant laws affect this? At what point do they come essentially a tenant and fall under those housing laws?
It's the same.
So you would eventually, if they're there long enough, need to do an eviction process and go through all of the things.
In Georgia, you can do in 30 days. We usually ask for, cash for keys, the same things that we do for long term.
Yeah.
And it usually works, And we have, I think, about 8 months that I'm doing co-living, I think we only had one problematic guest. And it was so funny because she was the first one to move into my second co-living. She's been there forever. All of a sudden, she started creating issues with all the other residents.
And are you mixing male, female in these areas?
Yeah,
okay.
But it's really not a problem at all.
Okay.
I think that's a good mix. I don't think I would like a house only with girls or a house only with guys. I like the mix. I think they keep each other in check. And but we had the situation. We told her, we gave her a week to vacate. She's leaving, and it's just the way it is.
And with the affordable housing properties I own, I'm also thinking about what's close to us. Where can they get their groceries? Is there a bus line here? How are they going to be? Because a lot of my affordable housing people don't have cars. Yeah. Are we in the same situation, with co-living?
Because everybody, when I talk to them about co-living, and I say, hey, if I have this property has 9 bedrooms, they're like, how are you going to find all this parking for 9? Not all of them drive. I would say 3 out of 9, sometimes 5 out of 9 drive. So as long as we have a good driveway, so they're not parking in front of the neighbors.
Or blocking each other.
If you're talking about citation and everything, it's always going to come from the neighbors calling the city on you.
Yeah.
Do you see? It's not that the city doesn't care what we're doing, in a way. So as long as you take care of the landscape, the trash, and make sure the parking and people are not being loud, the neighbors are going to be okay. You're going to be doing your things.
And what are you supplying in those common areas?
We do the cleaning every 2 weeks, and then we leave the cleaning supplies there, like vacuum and everything. And we used to do toilet paper and paper towel. Now we just leave paper towel because it just became too much. But we do and then once they move in, we create like a little kit where they have at least the initial, some toilet paper.
Same as you would an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Enough to get them started.
And all our properties has wash and dryer, so they can use it. And
And then how about the kitchen? What are you supplying
Kitchen,
in the
we do
kitchen?
pots, all the basic stuff. Air fryer, blender.
I don't know that
Do you
air
see
fryer is
it?
basic.
I
This
know,
is pretty
that's not
nice.
basic, but I'm saying for the pots and just forks and mugs. I love doing that. And sometimes coffee maker. And then those things, it's just more of the basic stuff for them. And I start doing blender because I know people have been. I've been seeing some of the hosts doing that. Mm-hmm. And then I start, because I usually try, and then I'm like, okay. And then I'll go back in there to see 2 weeks later to see if they're using, or ask my cleaner. So if they are using, I say, like, okay, we're going to keep that there. It's a good thing. I leave recipe books.
Oh,
And
yeah.
people see it, like I have my shelves, and it's just like, I wanted people to go in, like I come from Airbnb, I've done Airbnb, a middle term, and I know how it feels to walk into a house, a property that you rented, and you see all the little details just for you, and some books, and you want to be there, and you feel at home right away.
Yeah, the personal
it's the
touches.
hospitality.
And you got to
yeah.
remember, these people are probably traveling with a backpack, a suitcase.
Yes.
They are not bringing cookbooks and
Yes.
their blender when
Yes.
they want to make a smoothie or a protein shake or whatever it might be.
Yes.
And how about the refrigerator? How are you splitting up stuff like that? You're giving them instructions to label things?
We do. Yeah, we usually label for them, and then once it's interesting because when the home is new, you have to do everything. But once new people come in, the people that have been there kind of onboard them. Hey, this is where we go. We don't need to do that anymore. Usually there's somebody that becomes the leader. So they show them, this is the way we do it here. This is where you're going to put your stuff.
It's like your house mom.
Yes.
I love that. And
Ladies, it's time to redefine the conference experience with the Society of Entrepreneurial Women Retreats. Step inside a world tailored for women just like you, where you can lead, learn, and unwind in style. Our retreats offer everything from insightful investing sessions to fun activities like salsa dancing, boat cruises, food tours, and so much more, ensuring you come back not just inspired, but truly refreshed. Join a community that celebrates you wholly and supports your every endeavor. Ready for a retreat that changes the game? Visit the link in our show notes and find out how you can be part of this exclusive experience.
so for somebody who's thinking about this co-living idea for a existing house that they have, where would you suggest they start? What would be their first couple steps?
I would say layout is very important. Like in Atlanta, I like ranch style because it's easier to put up walls. If there's a basement, super. We can finish that basement, add square footage, add more rooms, more bathrooms, because bathrooms are the first ones to go when people are booking. Mm-hmm. And make sure that you have, if there's a dining area, you have 2 ways of egress, like you have a window and a door, and it flows, right? We want to make sure that it flows. If there's some dining rooms that are too small, usually for a pad split, they requires 7 by 10, so it's not that big, right? Mm-hmm. And make sure that you can do at least the way that I see my homes, and when I help other investors, make sure that you have at least 1,500 square footage to 17, but make sure it's a ranch. So you can go from 3 to 2 to 7 at least. Mm-hmm. I would not do anything less than 7. So I'm always looking for 15, 17. Nowadays I'm doing larger rooms, so I'm looking for basements with a ranch in a basement. Those are perfect. Because it's easy. My crews are done in 2 months. We build the rooms downstairs, more bathrooms, and then upstairs we just get the distressed property, we rehab it, and then we do a cash out refi, pay the loans, and then we do the conversion. That's my fixed to split method. So you force appreciation, so you have less money to the deal. My cash on cash is usually 30% and up. So it's easy to attract private capital, right? When I'm going out there looking for people to be my private money lenders, if I show my pitch deck and they see, and I explain them the numbers, they're like, wow, this is good. And we're doing something, we're solving a problem. We're not Airbnb. Not that I'm saying Airbnb is great. I still have one in Atlanta, but they're not really solving a problem. Co-living, we are solving a problem. We're offering clean, beautiful home, quiet places for individuals. Sometimes they're going through changes in their lives or anything they're going through, and offering them a great place.
So I'm curious what management looks like for something like this, because it's definitely more intensive than a single family home, but probably not as heavy as a short-term rental. So talk me through what managing a property like this is like.
So there's a lot of work up front until you get the house filled. That's the time that we know when it goes live, we know it's going to be a lot of work, because we need to make sure that we screen everybody, and sometimes we deny if it's not going to go, if their background check wasn't that great, and if they're not getting back with us, we know the communication is not going to be that good. So we've already, because they have 24 hours, we have 24 hours to accept. But if you start a conversation, they don't communicate back, we deny them for lack of communication. So we are making sure that whomever we bring to that house are going to stay there. Like if there's a commitment for that's 12 weeks, we love those. When we're on the phone, have a conversation with them. How long are you staying? We read the reviews, see how often they go from one home to the next. If they are staying there, if there's bad reviews. So we go over all of that screening. That's the hardest part. But once we put them inside the house, and they understand the culture, it's very hard that they're gonna move out.
So is this like
so there's a lot of work up front.
So on the difference in the short term and the long term, are they going to see the room they're gonna stay in, or it's like Airbnb and you don't see it before you get there? So there's no showings,
the pictures
you
are
skip
there.
all that part.
Yeah.
So in reality, if you get to skip the showings and things like that, it might not be any more time consuming on the front end than a long-term rental would.
Yeah. And in a lot of those things, like if you hire VA, they can start a process with you. We get on the phone with them, but they can do all of the back stuff and make sure that everything communicates. If there's a problem with if they need any kind of repairs, they communicate with the handyman. So if you create systems, and if you want it to scale, it's not that hard.
So I've noticed that you've been building your social media, your
Yes.
brand related to this topic. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so last year I started doing co-living, right? Because I have a friend who's doing co-living, walk through the property. So I was used to doing social media before, because going through loan officer, I was trying to get more people to know what I'm doing. And then once I found co-living, I'm like, wow, this is a great way for me to document what I'm doing. And I didn't have a lot of experience with co-living back then, but I'm doing the thing and I'm showing them as I'm doing. And it's been so powerful, like I'm understanding. As soon as I learn something new, I put it there. I have a Facebook group on co-living for women. So I come to places like this, I do Zooms in people's groups, usually women. So I've been like, just the power of me posting.
So you've truly become an educator in this
space.
And which is how I found you.
Relatable,
right?
exactly.
Yes.
I got your message, and I was like, oh my God.
Out of genuine curiosity on the asset class.
I've been following you for a while, and I remember when I found you, I think it was 2023 or 2022, you had about 20,000 followers.
It took years.
Oh my God, I know.
Yes,
and now
I've been doing it for 5 years now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now I'm here, her mastermind, and it's so amazing what you're creating.
You did such a great job yesterday on your presentation.
And it's, I have a lot of help from Carolina. Mm-hmm. Her entire group is amazing. All the women, I go to a lot of communities, guys, and these ladies here, I never felt so more welcome.
Well, I'm glad you say that, because they'd all be in trouble if you didn't.
Seriously, no, but this is culture.
They are. They're very inviting. Yes.
I see it's not all about Heather, the
No,
star.
it's not.
No, you're so relatable.
And so for people who are interested in the co-living topic and want to learn more from you, where can they find you?
Follow me, thecoliving.girl.com. I'm on Instagram.
How lucky were you to get that, right?
Oh my God.
That's such a great handle for you.
Seriously, there's nobody there. Like, people are sleeping on this.
I love it.
And if people take too long to figure out when they're going to get into co-living, it's going to be too late. Get on it now. If you don't know, follow me. You know, if you have any questions, let's connect on Instagram. And it's going to be the biggest strategy. We know the economic instability now in U.S. We know in the whole world. We're going to go through some, we don't know what's going to happen, but we know this is something. And I tell people, like, by me renting 3 bedrooms, it pays already for the mortgage, for the holding cost. So you don't need to have 7 rooms filled all the time if you're scared of that. But you're not going to have that because there's so much demand.
Yeah, that's
The
great.
more people know about it, it's going to even get bigger.
Well, thanks for doing this with me today. It's been
you're so
super
welcome.
informative.
Oh my God, yes. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Remember, authenticity is your superpower. Stay unapologetically yourself, and let's continue embracing our uniqueness together. Make sure you hit that follow button so you don't miss the next episode.